Eva Hearn, and I'm the medical programs coordinator here at Central Texas College. And this is Katherine O'Shea. She's one of our graduates. She finished in December of 2017. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes. And then she took her certification following March. Is that correct?
March 3rd.
And she passed the first time, and by May, you had a job. Is that correct? And so I've had several students who have either in my online classes or in case center classes who have sent me messages asking to talk to someone who's graduated the program and is working successfully. And most people just have questions about the certification process and the job search process. And so Katherine O'Shea has volunteered. I see her at our AAPC meetings monthly or semi-monthly whenever our schedules allow for both of us to be there. She's a lot better than I am. But I see her there, and I contacted her and asked her if she could come, and she could. So thank you for coming and talking to our students. And so I know I probably said a lot of what you were going to say, but go ahead.
We're good. Saturday, I've been doing this job for a year. I work from home. I worked at their facility for 30 days. Or no, I'm sorry, 24 days. I work for a Gatesville Coreo Health, and you remember last year it exploded? Well, the day before it exploded, I was in the room next to where it exploded. So I did my orientation.
I remember that.
June 25th and exploded June 26th. So,
because I contacted you and said,
and you're like, what have I done? I started working from home today. So I've been doing it. It's nice. It's not bad working from home. You have to be diligent. Working from home sounds like, oh, perfect. But you know what? It makes a difference. I know a lot of my coworkers get up and say that when they work from home, they get in their pajamas and stuff. But I've had a lot of jobs where I've taught a lot of different things and absorbed a lot of different things where how you dress matters to how your work performance ends up. So your pajamas, you're working like your pajamas. You're going to have that performance level also. No, I don't. I get dressed every day. I get up at the same time every day. I start work somewhere between 6:30 and 8 o'clock, depending on what I feel like doing or what I want to do in the afternoon. I have that flexibility. As long as I get my charts done and get my code completing done, it's fine. It's no problem. I work for a really good group of people. Only one person actually works in the facility of the coders. We have 12 of them altogether. 4 of us are for the clinics. So I do all the clinics for Coreo Health. I do the urgent care. I do their outpatient surgeries. I do the pain clinic. We have a podiatrist. We have a cardiologist, internist, general surgeons, family doctors. I'm forgetting somebody, I swear. But yeah. So it definitely keeps you on your toes. You're paying attention. You're not getting bored with just doing allergic bronchitis or strep all the time. But definitely keeps you paying attention. Any questions as far as how to apply for a job or what steps you want to take or?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You said, did you apply for your credentials as soon as you were done with school?
I went online to see when the testing was going to happen, and I also signed up for a study guide through AAPC. I got the study guide and signed up for the practice tests.
Okay.
And you want to do that because in reality, you're getting ready to take a 5-hour test with 150 questions.
Okay.
Sounds real simple, right? The majority of people don't even finish that test.
Multiple choice.
It is multiple choice.
Oh, is it?
But
Doesn't
it's
mean
not
that
that
it's-
simple.
Yeah, you're right, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's because there are multiple choices. They're going to have all the different diagnoses, and you've got to figure out which one fits what they're describing. Not as easy as it sounds.
And you won't have time to check all 4 of your options.
No, you won't. You're gonna have to eliminate what you're
Yeah.
gonna have to eliminate what you know doesn't fit, and figure out out of those other 2 you got which one has all the choices and which one has something that doesn't belong. It's not as easy as it sounds. So once I got the study guide and the practice test, I went through the entire study guide. I had both my books out. I had everything is tabbed. Tabbing your books makes all the difference. A lot of people that I've seen, they don't bother. But you can't get to that section unless you can see it. And especially when you're talking about that ICD-10 book. And when you get into that S&T section, you want to section that S&T section off also. On your own. Because that tab only comes for the S through T. It doesn't have it. You want to separate them out. Because that S code is all the fracture codes. It's all the contusions, the abrasions. You're going to want to find those fast. And the T section is your adverse effects, your poisonings, that kind of thing. You want to be able to find that fast also. That makes a big difference. I've seen a lot of people try to do that without.
And in the course, there's a guide on how to, in all the coding courses, in the coding resources section, there's a guide on how to tab out your books. If you recently got your book from the bookstore, they come with tabs. So the new books come with.
They come with the part of the tabs. I have extra ones that I have added.
Yes.
Because I like to have it. I also tab out the index. I bought little tabs. I bought them I bought them online from Amazon. I'm trying to say I bought them in the store, but no, I bought them on Amazon. They're just little tabs that stick out the end. And I have my index.
For your alphabet.
Broken up by the alphabet. I have that on my ICD-10 and my CPT book. It's faster to figure out what you want to look for. So in the ICD-10, the only section that they don't code all the way out is that S&T section. That will make a big difference. If you separate that by the arms and the legs and the body parts, it'll make a big difference. And I took that study guide and those practice tests, and I did that from January to February. I did it every day. Every single day that I had 5 hours, I set it aside and I practiced. And it got me frustrated because I would be 5 hours and I only have 50 questions done. What do you mean? How did that go so fast? You've got to practice. You've got to do that test over and over and over till your brain stops thinking, oh, I'm good. No, you've got to pay attention. You've got to focus. You've got to have those tabs. If I wouldn't have practiced, I don't think I would have passed the first time. I have a couple people that still ask me today, how'd you pass your test? I practiced. There's no shortcuts. There's no other way around it. You've got to practice. You've got to be able to get 150 questions done in 5 hours. I took those 3 practice tests and I made myself 5 different sets of tests. So I didn't memorize the order. And I have them on my thumb drive, and I open them up, and I did that for a little while. Then I realized you weren't going to be on a computer, that you had to do it by hand. So I had to get myself out of that habit of being on that computer and looking up that answer. I had to find it in the book. It's practice. It takes a lot.
Were you did you have to be a part of AAPC to get the study guide?
No, you're going to pay a little more for it, but no.
Would you recommend that?
I definitely recommend
that while you're in school, maybe that you join these organizations, or?
I don't know if you want to join it while because there's going to be certifications that you're going to receive, usage you're going to earn that you can't do anything with until you have a certification.
Okay.
I think the study guide is as soon as you graduate, or even when you get close to graduating, order that. Yeah. Start doing this practice test.
I don't know when you're finishing, Yvonne. I don't remember Frank or whoever is going to be watching. But they always have sales on the testing and the books at the end of the year. They have like Black Friday sales. Yeah. And so if you check the websites, for sure AAPC, and I believe AHEMA has them too, you can go online and just kind of start checking around November and just keep checking. And they'll have, because you got a really good deal.
I got a really good deal.
She got all of her, she got the study guide, the practice exams, all of the newest coding books, and her test. I think you saved about $200 by buying all of it at the same time. So even though that was it was a big investment, it still wasn't a small investment. But she still saved a whole lot of money by buying everything at the same time. So just go on those websites and check, because they don't always offer those bundles like that. But for sure I think
December.
And I remember telling a lot of students that now's the time to get that, because you can get all of those things and you'll save between $150 and $200. And also with AAPC, when you pay for your test, it actually allows you to take it twice. But you have to take it, Frank and I just looked this up, you have to take it within the year's time.
Yeah.
So if you take your test, say in March of next year, you have till March of 2021 to retake it. And if you don't retake it within that time, then you forfeit your
lost that
second
second,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I think it's something, the study guide has a lot of pointers, and you can write in your book all you want as long as you don't write out a question.
Yes.
I wrote in my book all of I have the medical terminology flashcards. I wrote those in each section. So I could put those words together.
Yeah. You can write as much as you want in your book, you just can't have extra paper for the test.
Yeah, you
And
can't
have
extra-
Post-its.
You can't. Well,
I think you can have a couple.
I've seen them leave the Post-its,
Yeah.
but you're not supposed to.
You know,
Technically,
I wouldn't.
nothing's
Yeah.
supposed to be in there.
I wouldn't rely on your Post-it just in case they take it.
Yeah. And
But
nothing-
you can write all in your book.
And I would write in pencil just in case the rules change. And they're there and like, well, this can't be here. Well, yeah, I can erase it. Okay, no problem. Well, there are a lot of hints are in that book. I said I had my ICD-10, my CPT book, and I took those hints and I put them in the book.
Okay.
And that makes a big difference.
So for you, what was most helpful? Was it the study guide or the practice exams
I think together,
together?
because the study guide gave me the pointers that I could, when I looked up that question for that particular diagnosis code, that shortcut was there. I can't do that without that, or that has to go with that, and that kind of stuff was there. So I already knew. So I used them both. I used them both diligently. It's just a matter of time. There's no shortcut. You can't do a 3-hour test that you're going to pass the 5. You've got to do 5 hours. However many times a week you can do it, do it. Be ready for it. When you sit to that test, you're not going to be like this. You're going to be, but I know I can do this in 5 hours. I know I can read these questions. I know it. And a lot of it, for the exam, start in the back. Do the easy stuff first. The easy stuff's in the back. The medical terminology, the CPT codes, those are in the back. Those are actually easier. Those are faster. Do that part first. That'll be my suggestion. Because everything else is looking up. All the rest of it is
What
looking
made you decide to, did you end up getting a CPC? Is that what you
I
got?
have a CPC,
Credential?
yes.
What made you decide to get that instead of the, what is it with the HEMA, CCA?
CCS.
CCS?
CCS?
CCA too, the CCS.
CCS is the one we have.
Yeah.
I just looked at the time, what was out there, what they were looking for. That was
So
how
you just looked at like jobs.
I looked like that. I just did some research and figured out what certification were they looking for at the time, and that was the one that I chose. It's going to depend on what's out there. Majority of the jobs take the CCS, they take the CPC, they take the RHIT. It depends on what you want to go for. I'd say look at the areas where you want to work and figure out what they're looking for at that time, and then figure out which one you want to go for.
Can you acquire a job without certification?
Yes, you can.
At first, they probably allow you to maybe work and then
They give you a
eventually want
year.
you to.
And
get
We were actually
credentials.
talking about that before you left, and we have a student who's still a student. He's a Cape Center student. He's almost done. He's doing his clinical now, but he is working at Scott and White. He's working in billing. He's not doing coding, but he's working in billing. And so you can, and then they told him that once he finishes and he gets his certification, that he can change into a more coding specific job. So there are some places who may give you that concession. It may not be doing, all coding without having that certification. You may be doing mostly billing, but, because you do that too, right, Frank? Don't you do billing for insurance? Yeah. So, and he's obviously still in school. He's in class now, so.
But yeah, the majority of them will let you start the job, and what they give you a year to get it completed. If you don't, then you're out of the
They
job.
probably don't pay you what they should pay you.
No,
if you're not
you're
certified.
definitely gonna make closer to minimum wage. You're not gonna make the $15 or $20 the rest of it. Yeah.
Sure. And you started off with the coding credential. Do you need to also get a billing credential?
I didn't get the billing credential. I only have the coding credential. I have the medical billing and coding degree and certification I got from here.
Right.
But I have not pursued a billing certification yet.
Okay.
Getting this job, getting accustomed to it, and trying to get the A off has just been a really lot of hard work.
Yeah. So tell her what the A is in case well, not just her, but in case they don't know what
The
it is.
A is the apprentice. Once you apply, once you take your test and you become certified for CPC, it's going to have apprentice on the end of it.
Okay.
If you've gone through this program and you have a degree, as soon as you get that degree, if you've got your certification, fax that transcript over, that takes off 1 year right away. Do it right away.
I didn't know that, so thank you for that.
Yeah. It takes it off right away. It'll take off 1 year. I'm going to have the other year taken off because I've done it for a year. I had to be honest, I paid for the Practicode stuff so I could, but when they moved their platform from the APC platform to the Blackboard platform, they didn't move the answers. I did not want to start over.
Yeah.
I was almost done. And I was like,
so tell them what Practicode is. I know what it is, but
Practicode is something that you can pay for the APC, and it's 3 different sets. You have to do 200 questions in each set, and then you have to take a 200 question test to pass that section. The 200 questions that are in each section are practice, records, charts, and they're all over the place. They're emergency rooms, they're surgeries, they're regular doctor's office visits.
kind of like what you see in a clinical.
Yeah, it is what you see in a clinical. Only if you get through all these, once you do those, you have 1 year to complete all 3 sets. You're going to have 200 questions in each set. Once you finish the 200 questions, then you can take that section's test. You have 3 chances to take that test, and you only have 3 hours to get through that test. Which isn't yeah, you know. And I was on 3. I was kind of mad.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I only had 1 section
So it's
left.
basically something you have to pay for. You have to purchase
pay
it.
for it. Yeah.
And does it take a year off or 2 years off?
It takes 1 year off.
Okay, so basically the apprentice, you'll be an apprentice for 2 years until you get 2 years experience. And then the
Okay.
apprentice is taken off and you're just a CPC. But like she said, if you send your transcript in, once you finish the program, then you get 1 year taken off. So then you just need one year of work experience, which she has now, to get the apprentice off. I have had students who say that they have problems finding jobs with the apprentice, but that hasn't been something that she's experienced. We were talking about another student who has found a couple jobs doing it, and so, like for some places they may not want to take you with an apprentice designation, but others they don't. As long as you have your certification, then that shows that you're proficient.
I think it also has to do with the other work experience that you have too.
Yes.
I've had a lot of different experience, and I think that made a big difference too. Because I know there's a couple of women that I know from the APC meetings, and one of them's a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't have any work experience, and she's trying to have me write her resume. And she tried to copy my resume. I took it back. Like no. I tried to help her, but she's not interested. She just wants you to do it for her. She doesn't want.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do it. But she's a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't have any work experience, and she was trying to help her put a resume together because she doesn't have enough job experience. So I was trying to do functional just so maybe we could get some of her skills. Trying to pull up the skills that she uses for homeschooling and stuff with her kids, and it was like beating against the wall of your head. You know, what kind of software do you use on your computers? Well, I don't know. I use a computer. Well, what kind of software? You got to tell them. Do you use what Microsoft? How much experience do you have with Word? How much experience do you have with Excel? If you don't have it, then that A is probably going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So I think it really makes a big difference of how much other job experience you have and how you lay it out with your skills. And remember, you can put your school skills on your resume too. All those computer programs you're running, you put that on your computer programs. Is the my computer skills. I can run these programs. I've been using these in school. Like my school skills, I've been using this. I've been using this book. I've got experience. You want to make sure you list all that stuff. All that's relevant. Yeah, it matters.
Did they give you the option when you started that job to work in-home, or could you work in the, did they?
This was a work from home job the whole time. Right now, well, they're starting to open up other areas. We'll see if we get our permanent area, if they'll make us come back. I hope not.
I remember in the beginning though, you wanted to stay a little longer than what they, because I think they were 30 days, and you said I can stay a little longer.
It was kind of, because there's so many different doctors for the clinics that I code for, you kind of get a little nervous when you have to do cardiac doctors because there's so much that involves in cardiac, all the different, the valves and the veins and just the aortas and so that got a little.
Did you go through a training process with them? Like,
not really. They kind of just set me in front of a desk and let me go.
Wow.
And I had the other 2 coders that were there with me, and if I had a question, I'd ask. And they introduced me with the easier doctors first, the family practice ones, the one who do the kids, mostly the kids, and And then we have one doctor that does the people who are in our nursing home and our what's that called? Active living.
Assisted living.
Yeah, assisted living center. I'm out blank. And they started me off with those, a couple of those first, and then we worked our way up. And I don't think I got the harder one. Our internist, that'll blow your mind when you're not used to putting 25 codes on a from a chart. Yeah. She's the one that they left for last, and I think it was probably right, because I think if I'd have saw her first, I think I might have got scared and left. It's a little intimidating at first, but you just get used to the different systems. You know, it's going to be a little bit different than what you're doing here. Like when you get out into the real world, you're not going to do one evaluation of management code. You're doing a facility evaluation of management code and professional evaluation of management code. Unless you're in the rural clinic and they only have the professional side. But yeah, in reality, you're going to be doing it. It's a lot different than it is. It's a lot easier too. But don't expect a lot of absolute, I don't know, information that's going to make it easier for you to find the answer. Doctors are kind of wishy-washy. And those records you're reading now are kind of, yeah, you're going to have so many questions. A lot of doctors forget which side they're working with. You'll see that a lot. Or they'll forget to put the laterality at all.
Wow.
And yeah, so you spend a lot of time. And I think my biggest pet peeve is when they do the IV for the dehydration. That nurse never remembers to put that stop time in. I have to argue with that all the time. I'm always sending that email out. Where's the stop time? You started. Did they go home with it? So yeah, but that's been my biggest problem really, is getting when they do that dehydration. The medicine adding into that isn't so bad, but if they don't give me a stop time, the computer goes no. But yeah.
You have any questions, Frank?
How well did the program prepare you for what you're doing, and the second part of the question, your hours? What are your typical hours on the day?
Typically, I work 8 to 9 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I don't have to work on the weekends, unless there's some reason that we're behind. Then they'll go, yeah, we really need you to get in here and get these charts out. You'd be surprised how many doctors don't sign their charts.
That's a biggie.
It really is. Sorry, I forgot. I got lost in what we were talking about.
No.
What was your first question, Frank?
My first question was, how well did the program
Okay.
prepare you? You know, because for real life, I know it can be two different situations, but because I really do love the program, so how well?
I know I didn't feel prepared when I was in a program myself. I kind of felt like, I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall.
Yeah. I feel like a lot.
But the reality is, you're not going to memorize those guidelines. You're going to have the basics of them, but they change so fast and so often that you're going to be adjusted to this, and then it's going to change to that. So just be prepared for a lot of change. Don't memorize anything as far as a guideline is, because you have it in your head, but be prepared to look it up. And most of the places use the 3M coder for putting in your diagnosis codes. That's going to bring up a lot of flags and tell you this can't go with that.
Okay.
So you're going to get a lot of warnings. But I think the program, in the end, once I started working on the real charts and pulling everything up, like, you know what, there really was a lot of information. I didn't need to go to that pharmacology class. You know. But yeah, I think I really, and then I didn't at the time, but I got all that clinical stuff they were making us do, all those, I get it now. In fact, I almost wish, I told her, I think we should have more practice, but I don't think there's enough.
I'm revising the course actually, and starting in the first coding course, I'm adding just a couple every chapter, not a whole lot.
No, I think that's a
Just
good
a
idea.
couple of those every chapter.
Because the books only have certain, and it's very limited. And I think if there were a couple extra ones that you could put your mind around what that actually was how it was supposed to work, I think it could make a big difference. But yeah, definitely.
Okay. Do you ladies have any questions? Ms. Dunn, Ms.
So
Dunn?
how'd you come across getting this job?
Well, it's a new day and age. You don't go apply in person anymore. So I did some research and looked out there, and I'm not a LinkedIn fan. I know a lot of my friends, and my brother even is on LinkedIn, but that part didn't interest me. I wanted something simple and easy, so I did Indeed. Because all you gotta do is post your resume up there, and that'll come to you, and you'll get 1,000 emails a day. Telling you about jobs that are open in your area, and I actually had more than one offer off of Indeed. I was offered an internship at the OS2 Healthcare Solutions for their risk coding, and I would have taken that if I wouldn't have got this job. In fact, I interviewed for the OS2 Wednesday, and for this job for Coriel Health on Thursday, and I didn't get it the first interview. They were trying to hire somebody else that had more experience. Yay!
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So,
you said when you were putting your resume out there and stuff, you did not have your certification yet, or
No.
your credential yet?
No.
You were in the process of working.
I was still, yeah.
Do you know much about the to be an internal? What did you say? An intern?
Intern?
Yeah. Do most places not pay you? They just it's more work experience, and then they
They're
decide
not going to pay you. They're not
Okay.
going to pay. Get your resume up there. Put it on all of them. Put it on Indeed. Put it on Glassdoor. Go with LinkedIn. LinkedIn just got me connected to a childhood friend passed away from a massive heart attack, and my brother is on LinkedIn. He sent her a message, and I got to talk to her to his sister and find out what happened and how everything was going, what the family's doing and stuff. So I use LinkedIn to connect with somebody, but I use it for a job. But I know that my brother's had a lot of success with LinkedIn. I know there's Glassdoor. Those are the three I know for sure. I'm sure there are other ways, but I have not done them yet.
Are you considering another certification?
I am thinking about the CRC, but right now I think I'm just going to try to figure out what's going on. But a lot of things happening personally right now, with a lot of deaths in the family and friends, and my sister, and different things that need to be taken care of that I have to deal with that right now. After that, I think I might go with the risk coding, because that's something I could do on the side in the evenings, because that's just risk coding, and in the end is really chart by chart.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you get paid by the chart, so it's not that exciting.
I was going to ask, did your job require you to do a quota? Were you required to do so many charts at a time? Per day?
Yes. They were surprised. They never told me how many I had to get done. To be honest, they just were, let me get the feel of it and let me go. And then I got a reward because I was doing as many as the regular coders. I hadn't even realized it. I was like, I'm just doing my job every day. At that time, our quota was 40 charts a day. And once we got all four of us in line and I was up to speed, they made our charts 50 charts a day. But I could do 75, so.
And it takes you 8 to 9 hours a day, you say?
That takes about 7 hours. It takes 2 other hours to do the code completing. You're going to do 2 different sections. You're going to do the evaluation of management coding first, and any procedures that they did in the office, you're going to do that first. That's one section. And you're going to come over here to where your chart is, where the actual chart itself is. And then my other section here is where I put in the diagnosis codes.
So you do both?
I do them all, yeah.
Because I know at some places, your place isn't as large as
Yeah.
Baylor Scott Point, but some places they only do breast reconstructive surgeries, and that's all one person does.
Yeah.
Which means that you're really, really good at that, because that's all you do. But also, she gets variety,
Yeah.
so she gets to code a whole bunch of different things, and she's not just looking at 3 pages in the book. But that's something to think about when you're looking for a job, and that if you only if you wanna do something very, very specialized, then you wanna work for a bigger place versus if you like the variety, you don't wanna have the monotony of doing the same thing every day. To work for a smaller facility where you get to code a lot of things.
Like I know the other lady that I know from that graduated here that I see at the meetings, she got a job in Austin for the orthopedic group, and they were handed a stack of sheets every day, and they just took 4 codes off those sheets and put it in. That's all. If there was 20 codes, they only put 4 of them in there. And I said, well, do they worry about whether they go together or not? She goes, no. I said, that must make the billing department really happy. Because there are certain things that you cannot code together.
Right.
And even with orthopedics. And so I was kind of like, I don't understand how they're getting away with that part. But what she had to do, they were required to do 2,000 of those charts a month. I mean, that's a lot. Think about it. Even just 4
We're only doing
codes.
4 codes, but still, yeah.
But I can imagine it goes pretty fast because they're not doing code. They're not going back in doing the code completer. They're not linking it.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be, but it's not something I want to do because it doesn't require a certification to do that. It doesn't. Anybody could do that. Well, that's in my opinion.
So Katherine, expand on your Indeed. So you post your resume, or did you just post a kind of an outline of your skills?
No, I put my actual. I went out there. I filled out all their little. They have these other questions they want you to answer. I didn't answer a lot of questions from my previous jobs. I didn't see any reason to. Nobody wants to go work for Ashley Furniture, so definitely nobody wants to work for GC Services. I guarantee that. So no, I didn't answer. That does put you through a lot more steps. I skipped a lot of them because I don't have an opinion on those other places. Let's just move on. Obviously, I don't work there for a reason. So I put my resume up there. I answered a few questions. I put the area in that I wanted to be in. I went through a different direction this time. I've always gone towards Temple, or gone towards Austin. This time I went towards Gatesville and Lampasas, and that was where I set my sights. I live in Cove. I wanted somewhere that was easier. I don't mind the drive to Lampasas. That wouldn't bother me. I knew I didn't mind the drive to Gatesville because I go there all the time because my daughter lives in Waco. I was like, oh, I'll just go there, and I guess I just happened to get lucky.
No, that's good to because, yeah, in all honesty too, I was thinking more Baylor Scott and White, Temple, and all that. But yeah, I never even considered maybe Lampasas or.
Yeah.
And so did they reach out and do a phone interview? Did they just go off of a paper interview?
On the OS2 Healthcare Solutions, the internship, she actually sent me an email and had me get in touch with her, and then we did all the interview and stuff with that. With Coriel Health, they sent me a link, and what was the link to their application and stuff? Because once you have to go, you still have to go fill out the applications. So I fill out their application, and I just happened to done look. Yeah.
And then there was no additional phone or personal interview with them, or?
I just happened to have done it at the same time.
Okay.
I did the OS2 Healthcare Solutions on Wednesday, and I did the Coriel Health on Thursday. When I told the hotel, I said, I have my interview with Coriel Health tomorrow. And they were like, yeah, okay.
So on your resume, the question I often get from college students is how much personal information should you put out on LinkedIn or Indeed? Should you put your full address, your phone number, or should you leave that for them to then request after they reach out?
Mine was all up there. I didn't put thought to that, I guess. It's weird, but I didn't. It's odd for me, but no, I didn't. But the people who are going to contact you through Indeed are going to do it through an email. They're going to take your information off of Indeed. They're going to send you an email, and it's going to have a link whether you're going to accept it or not. At least all of the ones I've gotten have. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm happy where I'm at.
So let me ask you, how soon before finishing the program did you really start to go out there job seeking?
I didn't go searching for jobs till after I took the test, till March. I didn't start looking for, because I literally took those 2 months after I graduated. I studied.
Okay.
That's what I did with myself. I wanted to be prepared for that test. I didn't want to fail it the first time. And then after I took that, I didn't know I passed yet. But after I took the test, I started getting my information together, figuring out, where do I want to apply for one? And I just thought, you know what, Indeed, LinkedIn puts you out to too many. I think I would not put any. I don't think I put anything on LinkedIn. I think there's too much out there that too many other people can get off of LinkedIn.
It's
Indeed,
interesting.
I don't know.
At the university, they caution my sons with LinkedIn not to put the home address, to put an email, but not to put the home address. But you can put the city or state state, because
yeah.
that may indicate where you want to work.
Work, right, yeah.
And how long after you took the test did you find out your results?
10 days.
Oh.
And it's still a paper test, like she
Yeah,
said,
it's
it's
still
not
paper, yeah.
on the computer. And so then they have to mail the test. I should probably be standing up. But they have to mail the test and then they'll post your results on the website.
You'll get an email first.
You get an email.
You'll get
Yeah,
an
you
email first, yeah.
And you just click on the link to see your results.
And it'll show you because the test is broken up into sections. It'll tell you how you did on those different sections. And you can figure out what you might need to study up on more,
Okay.
depending on maybe I shouldn't go into that area. You know.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? You good, Ms. Dunn?
Yeah, one more question
You do
for
it
you.
good.
When you working out of your
I'm
home,
sorry.
did you need any special equipment?
Okay, when you're working from home,
Uh-huh.
Good question.
you are going to have a computer, okay, and an extra screen. And I would advise your extra screen to be a minimum of 29 inches wide.
And you have to provide that yourself?
Yeah, provide that yourself. Let's see. My other suggestion of working from home, see if you can find, I know they have the things that go on top of the desk that go up. My whole desk moves up and down. You're gonna wanna be able to stand up.
Nice.
You're gonna get tired of sitting in that chair, putting those codes in, looking them up, spinning around and pull your books out. You're gonna wanna stand up, yeah. I stand up to code complete.
Would you recommend a quiet area when you're working out of your home? Like, I guess what I'm asking is because I have
Okay,
pets.
here we go. We'll go through a list.
Okay.
My first advice is gonna be, get your own internet. Don't share it with anybody else in the house. Hardwire it.
Okay.
You're responsible for all that patient information that's coming through.
Okay.
It's your responsibility. Make sure it's hardwired.
Hardwired. Okay.
And it's yours, nobody else is sharing it.
Okay.
Make sure you got that computer with a second monitor. You have to have 2 monitors. You cannot do this job without 2 monitors. It doesn't work.
Both monitors, the 29-inch?
That's preferable. But definitely the second one, because the second one is the one I use for my remote desktop connection, and my computer is what I use for all the stuff I look up, which is my home computer. The second one is where I put my desktop remote connection, and that's from work. And that's where I get the charts from, and where I do the code completing from, and I put the diagnosis in. You definitely want to make sure that's happening. You want to make sure that the chair you have is comfortable. I would suggest a chair with either out arms or with arms that move. Sometimes you're going to want them, sometimes you're not going to want them. Okay? Make sure your room is easily changeable to temperature with a fan for when it's summer, and with some kind of portable heater when it's winter. Your problem was like you're going to have to close that door to the room you're in. You don't want any distraction from anybody else. You can't have people running through the room you're in because they can't see those charts. Those charts are private information. Nobody else can see them.
So you need your own room.
You need your own,
an
yes,
office.
you definitely need your own space.
How did you know how to set all that up? Was it something that they talked to you about and shared all that information with you at the job originally in Coryell? No?
No, regular computers.
Is it something that you knew before, or did you start the job and say, okay, I gotta get another monitor and it needs to be bigger?
I knew I needed to,
Mhm.
because that was what all the information I found out from doing
Yeah.
my research was, and you don't want to do this job on one monitor.
Yeah.
You have to have two. Because you're going to have one, I said, you're going to be putting in information for evaluation and management over here, the charts over here, but then
Right.
which with your diagnosis codes over here. So this is going to be from work, and this is going to be from the internet. Like where I pull up to put the evaluation and management, I could do it from this computer. I could pull up rev cycle from here. And I could pull up, tell you how many charts are in my queue. But that's where you do the evaluation and management part from, any kind of procedures that they do in the clinics. That's gonna be that part. Then you come over here with the chart, and then you've got to pull that information off. You pull a lot of information out of that chart. You just don't pull the assessment or whatever tests he's done. You're also looking for the tracking measures. Tracking measures are how the facilities get their money. You're going to put in whether they're a smoker or not. You're going to put in whether they're depressed or not. You're going to put in what their blood pressure was. Is it above 140 or is it 140 or below? Is it above 90 or is it below 90? You're going to track all the information. You're going to track whether they've done a diabetic foot exam. That's a tracking measure. You're going to track smoking, depression, BMI. What am I missing? Oh, whether 65 or older.
Oh, yeah.
How many times have they fallen?
Recreational drug use too, or alcohol.
Alcohol is not something that we use as a tracking measure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, just the smoking.
Okay.
And that might depend on the facility. Maybe it depends on whether you treat that kind of diagnosis or not. But yeah.
One last question, just sort of about this. Do you have to have errors and omissions insurance? Like, is it risky as far as if you make a mistake on the chart or
No,
anything
they're
like
going to
that?
tell you to fix it.
Yeah.
At least my job is,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So they have inside auditors?
No, most everybody sends it out.
Okay.
Once you do the evaluation and management part, those codes have to be turned over to get over to this side. So you put the diagnosis in. There is a write can't edit kind of thing that's in the middle there that'll try to catch,
Okay.
which is my boss is trying to skip right now. We'll see how it works. We've only been doing it for a week. We'll see. And then once you finish it, my code complete is where I link up the diagnoses that I put in with the evaluation and management or the tests or the procedures that they've done. That's what code complete is. If you know that 1500 sheet you're using in class, and you're putting in whether it matches with A, B, or C or not, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it electronically. I pull up, and I only have to do four diagnoses. I pull up the first four, I click on that, and I link it to whatever lab or whatever is back there, tracking measures I put in. And that's where you put in your modifiers, you figure out whether you need a modifier or not.
Cool.
Yeah. And I don't know, I don't have anything, if you make a mistake, it's gonna be part of your percentage. What is your percentage? How accurate are you?
Okay.
So Catherine, is there anything you recommend to people who work from home as far as tracking their expenses or things for taxes or anything like that you do?
I haven't done that yet. I mean, I track my hours on a calendar. I do everything in Excel, so I don't know. I track my hours, my expenses. The only thing I pay for outside of work that the work doesn't pay for is the APC coder, which I paid for Practica, but I've actually found that I've used it a lot because your 3M doesn't really give you the opportunity to search for procedures as well. And I can pull up a diagnosis code like a fracture, and I can put that in my APC coder, and I can scroll to the bottom and I can link that. I can pull up the ICD-10 CPT link, and it'll give me all the things that match that they can do with that fracture. Whether it's an operation or whether it's a closed manipulation, I use it a lot.
So do you know, like, the separate area you have in your home, and then the separate internet, and even the equipment you use that you get to file taxes, or
I didn't bother. Well, we didn't.
check on that?
No,
You
we didn't do anything because this year was the first time we actually got money back.
So you didn't even
Who
care?
bothered? Next year I might have that answer. But no, this year, no.
Because the cost of your internet, especially since it's only used for work.
Well, the internet's about $65 a month, depending on where you get it from. I
Yeah.
would not advise CenturyLink, and that's just because it's what OS2 Healthcare Solutions has, and my work, and it goes down all the time. So, as much as I don't like Time Warner Cable, their extra would not be that bad. And then my daughter's, I use Grande,
Yeah, I use mine.
but it's not so great. I don't know if it's because they've changed their plan or not, but I try to avoid being up there if I have to. But yeah, I would say, I don't know about that. I didn't think about it. I bet I could have taken all that money off on paying for that APC coder, that's for sure. And that internet use, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I would be my advice. Be sure it's somewhere, because what you have on that screen, your kids can't look at, your husband can't look at, your spouse can't, whatever your other better half is, even they can't look at that. And in fact, if you go to lunch with another coder, and you're in public, and you make the mistake of talking about a record, be careful, don't do it. You'll lose your job. It happened at our facility. One of the nurses had a conversation with a friend, thinking that she didn't think she'd have to worry about being in public. Well, the person she was talking about was on the other side of the restaurant.
Oh my goodness.
That would be the best advice I could give you, is that you've got to realize this is a job. You're kind of in intelligence, because you can't go home and tell a lot of people about it. I was in public. I was in Joann's Fabric, and one of the ladies was talking about how she didn't feel good and stuff, and how probably she had with her allergies. Well, I went over there and I said, well, you know what? Based on what the doctors are doing for people at this particular time, I'd advise you to do this, and see what works better for you. I can tell you that if your congestion's in the front, use this. If your congestion's in the back, use that. But you don't want to go and tell about somebody's operation. You don't want to talk about that in public. You know, I can tell you what's the biggest thing that's out there right now is strep. Strep is a big deal in Gatesville right now. Definitely.
All right, any other questions for Katherine? You good? You good, Yvonne? Good, thank you so much for coming, Katherine. We
Thanks
really
for inviting me.
appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. We'll have it, Mrs. Chair, so you can go ahead and